Okay, let me give intro about myself and then you can start from your angle as well. Let me figure out just some screen. I need to adjust the screen. Okay, so I should be able to view everyone. Just hold on, please. Please give me a couple of minutes. Okay, so my name is Fairuz Habib. I'm attached to a software company called Cybersoft Private Limited, and also I attached to another organization as a business consultant, which is called Silverleap. This is we have operation in Sri Lanka, Singapore, Australia, and this East Asia region generally. I'm the president for Federation of IT Industry, the FITIS software chapter. And I'm reading for my doctorate at University of Kelaniya. You're my second batch at University of Peradeniya. Today's session that we are going to learn about personality type. It is more than the academic learning. It's all about knowing about yourself and how do you deal in your business environment, and that's and how do you know about other people when you are dealing with them, and all sort of things. I would like to hear from one by one, so that at the same time I will also make an attendance mark, so that job also done in parallel to what we do. Yes. Can we have your introduction, please, with your name? Please specify your name and you can start. Okay, I'll call my name. Jayamini Abhay Vikram Singh. Sandeepani Amanugama.
So I am Ritmini Amanugama, and
can you speak a little bit louder? Right.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes.
I am Ritmini Amanugama, and I majored in biomedical engineering, but currently I have changed careers to digital marketing, and I'm an associate digital marketing specialist at SearchMax, and I'm from Kandy.
All right. Okay, fine. That's a very good introduction. Your background and what you do. That's a really very good introduction. If Jayamini, if you are there, you can just unmute your mic and speak. If not, we can move to Ajani. Ajani Rajaratna. Buddhima Bandara. Manish Herath.
I am Manish Herath, currently working as Senior Manager Human Resources in Royal Garden Holdings Private Limited, and I am from Kandy.
Where are you working?
Royal Garden Holdings Private Limited.
And what's your field? Is it management, accounting?
Human Resources. HR.
HR, okay.
Yeah.
Right. If you could just mention your field also, that would be great. You have to make it fast because we have a long syllabus to cover. And also that I'm supposed to do the tests, which will take at least 1 hour to finish the test. So let's make our introduction very brief, quickly. Next person, Gayani Herath. Chamodi Paniara.
Hello, sir.
Chami is there?
Hello, sir.
Yes. What's your name?
I'm Gayani Hairat, sir.
Yes.
So I'm working at Lanka Education and Research Network at University of Peradeniya.
Okay.
I'm working as a finance executive.
Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So I'm Buddhima Bandara. I worked as a executive human resource related to employee relations. I'm from Peradeniya.
Okay. Right. Next person. Buddhima Bandara, you are attached to which field?
Human resource.
Right. Next person, Chamodi Vandiarachi. Dilip Samuel.
Yes, sir. I'm Brian. Brian Samuel. I am working for HSBC as an analyst.
You're working for HSBC.
Yes.
Right. As what?
As an analyst, compliance analyst.
Compliance. Are you working in Colombo?
Yes, sir. I'm based in Colombo, but these days we're working from home.
Right. Next, Diniti Dasanayak.
Hello, sir. I'm Viniti, and I work as a customer service executive at HSBC. My first degree is from University of Peradeniya, Faculty of Arts.
HSBC customer service.
Yes, sir.
Because this is helpful for me to set the profile and expectation with you all, but where should I bring in the example, because I have to do another 4 more sessions. So those 4 more sessions, I'm going to focus on bringing in the example from the context that which is relevant to you, because I'm coming from the IT background, right? The expectation from my side, from university, to deliver how we can bring in that technology flavors into your curriculums, and how can we make you all comfortable with the technology sort of thing. So, but still I have to bring in the examples which is relevant to your context. Right. Banuka Hettigoda.
Hello, sir. I'm Banuka Hettigoda. I'm working as a sourcing and supply chain executive at Mars Holdings, and I'm from Kandy.
Okay. Then the Hasandi Jayakuru. Nilushan, oh, you're there. Okay.
I'm Hashanti Jayakuru. I'm from Matale. I'm working at Versa Colombo. It's a IT company. I'm
As what?
Working as a senior QA engineer.
QA engineer. So I'm going to test your knowledge and skills. Right. Nilushani Velagedara. Darshani Santamali.
Hello.
Nilushani there?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon,
Right.
sir. I'm Shatrika Velagedara. I'm currently working at Ashur Nation Trust Bank as a credit officer.
Nation Trust Bank as a
Credit officer.
credit officer. NTB. We are in Kandy or Colombo?
I'm working at the regional office, Central Province.
Central Province.
Yes,
Darshani Santamali.
I am Darshini Sandamali. Currently I'm based in Colombo. I'm working pharmaceutical manufacturing company. My first degree was BSc Management.
Okay, BSc pharmaceutical. Which company?
Emakemi NBC Law Limited. Pharmaceutical manufacturing.
You're working as a
Executive.
accountant or the admin?
No, admin. I'm into corporate services.
Next, Krishani Jayasekara. Mihiri Jayasinghe.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Yes, go ahead. I can hear you.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Imali Jayasekara from Kandy. Currently, I'm working as a development officer related to local government office, Matale.
Local government office, the development officer.
Hello, sir.
Right. What's your name?
Mihiri Jayasinghe.
Okay, now previously, what's your name? Krishani?
Imali Jayasekara, sir.
Imali Jayasekara. Hold on. Imali Jayasekara. Okay, Krishna. Here it says Krishani Jayasekara, but it has to be Imali Jayasekara, right?
Yeah, sir.
Hold on, let me check Himali is there. Okay, so that's okay. That is Imali Jayasekara. Krishani is Imali Jayasekara. Otherwise, it's okay. Next, Miri.
Yes, I am Mihiri Jayasinghe from Veyangoda. Currently, I am working at National Savings Bank as an assistant manager. I graduated from NSBM in BSc in MIS.
Assistant manager, you are looking into what's your responsibility? What's the responsibility?
All the branch operations and
branch operation. Attached to which branch?
Katunayaka branch. Sir.
So you're living in Mirigama and
Veyangoda, sir.
Veyangoda, okay. Krishanti Selvanayagam.
So I'm Krishanti Selvanayagam from Kandy, and my first degree from ICBT in business management.
You don't have a camera with you? At least others also can see. I think most of the people, you don't know. Right. Are you working?
No, sir. Currently, I'm not working.
Okay. So where did you study? You said ICBT, right?
Yeah, ICBT, business management.
Business management.
Yes.
Right. Next, Amal Niranjan. Quick. We have 15 minutes gone. Still half the people to go. Shall we stop the introduction here and do it maybe during break? Because I don't want to, if there are 48 people even here, I don't want to take too much of time on this one. Let's get into the session. Okay, please mark your attendance in the here itself. I hope you know how to put the attendance, right? You got to put your attendance in the chat window itself with your admission number and along with the admission number and your name. All right. So I hope I'm audible. You can see my screen as well. Anyone can you acknowledge which screen that you can see? It's the organizational behavior. Can you see the screen mode?
Yes,
right.
sir.
Right. So let's get on with quickly. I have to get up the 15 minutes, which is gone already. Since we have longer session to cover, I'll try to expedite it as much as possible. If you have any doubts, clarifications, please stop me, or you can even put it on the chat window so that I should be able to answer that in a consolidated way. Right. So most of you would have not gone into such training, or you would have not expected this sort of session to happen, because it is very rarely these sort of sessions have been conducted at the to the university student itself. The reason being is because these are very, I would say that especially in foreign countries, they used to do. So let me quickly give you the set of objectives of this today's session, how you build you will learn about negotiation techniques and how to influence and convince stakeholders and how to say no and taking ownership and accountability, how to deal with the constant demand in your organization. So this is important for you all to understand how you are going to, be in the work in the organization, and while you are in the organization, what sort of issues and challenges you may have to face. Several people across you. So how you are going to face those people and what sort of thing that you're going to learn in today's session's outline, where we will learn about personality type, and then there's a model called DISC model. I'll explain that, and then the negotiations and understand the characteristics and behavior of the negotiators, establishing common grounds, and how that once you get into the negotiation, how you come to the middle where it doesn't affect both parties, and then you are talking about most important traits of the negotiator and so on. So just give me a minute and just do a small settings. So I'm setting my screen in such a way that right. Okay, so as a starting, we are going to learn about what is this personality types. Now, in general, we come across various issues and challenges to deal with the different places, and when we are dealing with our office environment, when we are dealing with our family. Now, this is we can't avoid. We can't avoid whether we as human that we are connected with the either. We have to deal with. We have to work with many people. So how we understand and how other people behaves. Now every day we come across the situation that different people behave in a different way, but we have no choice that we have to live with them. One of the classic example now, since there are a lot of majorities women out here, but still that the context is same. Everybody coming across this sort of situation almost every day or some other day in your life. You can be a married couple, or even you can be friends. The couples is still yet to marry, or any situation. Now, if you are going to the restaurant, so generally who suggests, generally the wife or your girlfriend who initiate, okay, let's go to the restaurant today, and we'll go out for the dinner or something like that. Then when they give the idea, okay, let's go for a dinner today, then they pick up the venue as well, or preferred place, okay, 1, 2, 3, whatever. They know that the wife or the girlfriend, they know that the husband doesn't easily, that he may not like that place. Maybe a simple reason, they don't serve the hamburger or anything favorite to him, which is not served there. But the wife or the girlfriend, she realized that yes, he's not going to be happy, but I want to go to this place. So then they suggest, okay, darling, dear, next time we can go to the place where your choice, or the place where the both of us like to go. This time we will go to this place, and I'm open to discuss and that both parties' wishes has to be respected and all that. So this is how they start the discussion. So most of the time, this issue, personality problems and all sort of issues, they from female side, they somehow try to take the advantage because they are the first one to give the preferences and try to take the advantage. But when it comes to office environment, it's slightly different. You're dealing with the hierarchy in your organization, where the managers, the bosses, they wanted to convey something, they wanted to get something done from you. And then they have certain kind of set of mindset or the predefined agenda or the way they, the vision of the organization that they wanted to get it done like that. But then when you're dealing with such situation, you got to that understand how you're going to dealing with. This is within your organization. Now you, some of you, I'm sure most of you have to deal with the external parties, your customers. You're being a manager, or you're being a branch manager, or you're being a customer support staff, or the customer executive, or the admin staff, or the even HR staff. Everybody need to work in collaboration with many people inside and outside the organization. So in that situation, how you identify the people and then accordingly get your desired job done. That's the ultimate expectation of this personality type, identifying the personality type and how you deal with them, how you get this negotiation going on, and how you get into the settlement with them. Okay, this is what we finally wanted to do. If you have worked with the clients or any party agreement, signing up the agreement, you will see back and forth, lot of questions are being exchanged, and finally nobody wants to settle down to one place. Their customer ask is here, and at the same time the organization, they say, no, if we do that, then we will lose this much, or we may not be able to sustain our business, we may not be able to deliver this time and all that. But then finally both parties discuss and agree to a common ground. So here we are going to discuss about how we build that skills around us to go up to that level, and how can you become a successful in your organization, in your business, in your life. That put all together. If you really can understand your core strengths and weaknesses, and where I'm good at, what type of personality that we are dealing with, what is their behavior, how can you tackle that person, he or she, then you are done. You don't need to just go and face it out and then come back say that this guy behaving like this, I didn't expect this from him and all that. There's no need, because this is the person, this is the way that they will behave. So for that, you should have a clear understanding. You should be able to understand the people behavior, attitude, and then should be able to recognize their body language and all that. Accordingly, you should be able to move things faster. Now, there are two types of there are two types of personality type that we are discussing here. One is the assertiveness. Other one is the responsiveness. The assertiveness is how you deal with someone, like the way I said that I brought up the example of your wife or girlfriend and your boss, and how you are dealing with their constant demand. They wanted something, right? You have to do it. Then how are you going to balance it out? Then the responsiveness is, it's about the perceived effort a person make to control him or his or her emotion, right? So that's what we are going to learn much about during this the first half of the session. Here we are talking about the people with less assertiveness and more response, or less assertiveness and more assertiveness, less response and more response. The people are, they're coming in between as well. Okay, So we are going to learn about those characteristics and how we are going to deal with them. In any situation, you can deal with 4 types. Where the aggressively, that means you can by just saying no or excuse with the family commitment and all that. And then also you can have an option of responding to them positively. And then you can give a passive aggressive way of responding to those, that you may say that, yeah, I mean, what I have missed is after finishing these works and all that. You know, the perceived effort of a person to make, to influence or control the thought and action of the others. So what you say that you're not saying no, but what you're saying is yes, but and you know that what you have, okay, now I had done it, but I have missed dinner with my family. I have committed my children, so my wife that will go for a dinner, but I could make it. Or I was able to join at about 9:30 by the time they are done with their dinner. Then let them think, okay, now, yeah, next time you should be, you know, that check with him whether you have any commitment before, you know, the letting him stay till late night and finish the job and all that. Other way of approaching that is the assertively, where you can say that I have gone through the client request and I have gone through whatever requirement came in and all that. I'm concerned about staying late, though that I have planned that I would have, I mean, that I would want to cancel it. But do you think if we can wait till tomorrow morning? Because I know that this is something that I have done it already. It's a matter of changing few things and format and all that, which typically I should be able to get it done within half an hour, 45 minutes time, or maybe 2 hours. Our deadline is 2 o'clock. So I'll come maybe around 7:30, 8 o'clock early itself and should be able to finish it by 10 o'clock. By the time you come to work, then it will be there in your desk. So you can agree to that as well. You know, there are ways that you handle the situation. So if you can acknowledge that your need as well as your boss's need. At home, your boss is your wife. At office, your boss is boss, right? If you can acknowledge their need, then you should, you know, that you should be using that assertive response. Okay, so then you know that you're not actually creating problem on top of the problem. Instead, you're trying to settle with both parties' demand. Okay, now let's look at in detail about what is high assertive. Okay, so are you with me? Is it clear? Anything, any doubts that you can stop me and ask? If not, I'll be moving a little bit fast now here onwards because I have to cover a lot. Okay, now there are 4 ways. 5 characteristics when it comes to high assertiveness. It's like firstly you go as a directive approach where you say that I'm the boss. I tell that you have to do it. You are giving that authoritative instruction. You're not giving any chance of any negotiation for them to come up with. Please do it. You have to do it within this sort of time. Other way of doing that is like the confronting, we call it, or the confronting mean, like I'm talking about the fourth point, it's the last point, where the you're talking about a problem or difficulty, right? It's like summon or the present itself, so that you have to take you must take action where the individual, I mean that you're forcing them, right? You must take action on this, because otherwise you will have to face challenges in the future and all that sort of thing. Generally, the individuals who has the high assertiveness don't shy away from defending their point of view, right? Or their goals, or from trying to influence other people to see their side of view, because they are not, that they wanted to get things done in a way. So they are open to both sides of the compliments. It is basically they wanted to get it done, but I'm okay to look at your side of the problem also and see that how best that we can sort it out, right? And they also come into the constructive criticism rather than putting things down. That no, this can't be done. You would have seen the people after every few 1 or 2 effort, they'll say, no, this can't be done. That's it. They don't want to take beyond that level. They don't want to see how, but these high assertiveness people are not like that. They will somehow build that constructive criticism and see how best that we can get things sorted out, right? The people, they can improve their assertiveness through the practical experiences and by doing some exercises, that by putting them into the real issues and challenges and let them feel that, okay, now, I was thinking that this cannot be done, but yes, it is possible. So you have to let them do it, right? So by doing that, you can, in a way, that improve that. Okay. When we talk about low assertiveness, in some of them, that they can take multiple forms of they are not ready to accommodate, that they are always like lack of preparation kind of thing. And they are also don't much care about the positions, and they don't care kind of thing, or avoidance of making request, or in the, especially that they don't make that request in the first place. Because they have a reason, they have a valid reason, but they don't bring it up at that time. Then later, other people also regret, because that guy would have asked for it. If you really need that. Likewise, that these are the low assertiveness people. You would have come across that in most of the places. All these lead to individual to worse mental or instrumental outcome, because they feel themselves put themselves down, and they think that no, this cannot be done from our end. Oh, those are big people. We can't be dealing with them and all that. So they put them into the worst mental situation, and that creates a instrumental outcome for them based on what they deserve or how they behave. And then they're failing to get the support and whatever the things required to get their job done also. So those are the type of people with the low assertiveness. Then the responsiveness, which you're talking about. First assertiveness, next is the responsiveness. Okay. The responsiveness is the perceived effort a person make to control his or her emotion when relating to others. It's not about ourselves. We are not talking about the people who go ahead and do the suicide. That is about they are punishing themselves. But this is about how they are dealing with other people. Okay. Now, this is kind of people with emotional intelligence. They know what their feeling is, and they know what they want to see, and they also know how to express in a way that they can also receive it. We usually say that if you want to really see what's really going to happen, you have to put their shoes into your legs and see whether it fit into you. So we might tell 10 things for one person. Okay, you put yourself into his position and see whether you can do it. If you can't do it, how can you expect someone else to do it? So these are the people who actually think that way. And when they are actually being seen that they can take it, which is a little bit more difficult than our, that people might guess, because they usually put that into their, put their socks into them and see whether it is really fitting into me. So that means, why can't you do it? It is good to understand how we could, that could be more emotional intelligence and more aware of ourselves and more curious about who you are. And so that we can be seen and we can be understood and we can be heard. Otherwise, what will happen is our voice will not come out. We would have told 100 things in a meeting or somewhere, but somebody else would have copied that because we haven't put it in the right way. Or later when we meet them, we will tell them, look, that this is exactly I told you that day, but you didn't realize it. But they said, no, you didn't tell me like this. If you had told me like this, I would have accepted at that time itself. You would have come across that situation for sure, everybody in your life. So these are the people we're talking about. The responsiveness when it comes to. Now, let's say the low responsiveness, again, we are talking about rational, task-oriented, and formal and business-like. That the rational mean, that they are highly disciplined people, and rational mean they are based on, they always, that based on, they have a benchmark. Okay, I want to follow this person. Oh, I want to beyond this. If others can do it, why can't I do it? If others can't do it, how can I do it? These are some of the attitudes that we generally, talking in the normal life also. They are kind of low responsiveness people are kind of the formal they are kind of official and sanctioned, or they recognized. They have to be recognized. You can't, let's say now, can you do this? You have to say, okay, this is it my duty? Is it coming under my job role? Am I supposed to do this? Okay, if I do this, my job is done. Yes, they will ask these sort of questions. You would have come across these sort of people also. Then, so when you see the people asking this sort of questions and attitude, these are the people with low assertiveness. You have high assertiveness, the low responsiveness. You have high responsive as well as low responsive, right? We should not be mixing up. Assertiveness is different and the responsiveness is different. Okay. And business like having they kind of indicating the efficient and practical, and they also will have a systematic approach to one's work or the task. So they will say, no, he has to do this. Only once he finishes his job only, I can do that. And I will do only this only. I can't do others' work. It is not that they don't know, but they don't want to do others' job. They will say, no, I am here to put the stamp and put the seal. If you ask them to give an envelope, they will not give. They will say, no, you bring the envelope. I just need to put the seal only. They don't care at all. You know that you would have come across that sort of people in your life as well. I'm sure every single example that I'm bringing it up, some of them from my experience also. But this is the common issues that we are facing. The moment you see that sort of people attitude, then you know that, okay, I should not be demanding much from these people. You can't change those people. can only make them understand, that, like I said, the experience, the exercise. You got to put them into the different place and let them feel, let them understand. Then only they should be able to, make a small change. Next is the high responsiveness. They are kind of undisciplined. The emotional. Generally, the high responsive means it's warm. They also kind of quickly they accept and they will support as well. But when it comes to practice, like they are the people once they feel happy, they quickly show the emotion. They hug you. They cheering you. They will quickly smile at you. And they will bring in the different presenting the practices. Like, again, they express their feelings very quickly. So other way, if they are angry, if they don't like, they just express it very quickly, that also. So their style, of course, mainly a high demandingness, mean the high standard and the limits. They want to have certain limits. When it comes to practice, how they practice is like they're requiring a kind of a, they wanted to get a good grade, and they wanted to show the good manners, and they wanted to presenting in mostly in the practices and all that. That there are various things that they are very open also. So those are the people usually high responsiveness or the high emo. So there are two categories that we have looked at. One is the assertiveness, other one is the responsiveness. Assertiveness is all about how you deal with someone's concern demand. Responsiveness is, it's all about perceived effort of a person to control his or her emotion, right? So I hope this is clear to you all, because if you can just keep that in mind, and then it will be easy for you to understand the rest of the things, because you have to learn this with the passion and with the interest, because nothing new that you are going to learn here. It's all about you are going to organize it. You are going to, that categorize it, put the people and everything into a different bucket and see, okay, and then you are going to mix them. These are the people who has this sort of characteristics, more of this sort of characteristics and less of this sort of characteristics. Then you should be able to visualize things before you, you don't need to get upset with anyone, because you know that this is the maximum that you can expect from them. Correct? So let's move on to this DISC model. This model is, it is used to identify the strengths and weaknesses. It's a kind of a self-test to know about what sort of personality you are. It's like a horoscope. We believe horoscope when someone give you by looking at your, by hearing your, I'm sorry, I'm not criticizing anyone, but as human, that we should, we believe, okay, when someone look at your time you born and few other things, okay, this is the person. And what sort of environment that you have been into, what sort of changes that you have gone into in your life, what sort of education, what sort of background that you have built up over the years. Is it the same person who born in 20, 30, 40 years ago? Is it the same person you see today? How can you decide? I'm not criticizing that, but just be realistic and look at this sort of thing. This is something that much powerful than the horoscope. When you see the person, You don't need to test their pulse. The moment you see the person, you should be able to recognize them. Right? So this is going to be very, very useful. This has made my life-changing attitude that I brought in. First, you must understand who you are, and then you have to look at how you can improve certain things. That way you can just give me a okay. Sorry about it. So this model is a quadrantal behavior or the behavioral model index in a modern interpretation based on Dr. William Marston. Dr. William Marston is the person who has examined the behavior of individuals in their environment. What is important for us is with whom we are working, which environment that we are working, and how they are going to behave. That is a time which is going to decide. If you can play it very nicely, then you get your desired outcome. End of the day, what you want is the salary increment, your promotions, you get your purchase order, you get your payment. When wherever you go, you know that how to handle the situation. Thereafter, you don't need to blame. Okay, I would have gone half an hour late. I'm not seriously, don't take me wrong. I'm not criticizing any of the practices or beliefs, but I'm talking from the Dr. William Marston's examination behavior on this rule. Once you learn this, once you finish this part, you will see, okay, there is something. I have never seen anyone, that who has learned this one very in detail and gone through this exercise has failed. Okay. Right. So this Marston's research, which uncover 4 quadrants of behavior, which help understand a person's behavioral preferences. These behaviors and preferences, which is we call it DISC assessment, which classify into 4 aspects of the behavioral test. That's so I'll be covering on detail. This can help you understand the behavioral style and how to maximize your potential when we are dealing with the people. Now, on this, now we learn about responsiveness and assertiveness, right? Now we are really coming into this portion. DISC means D. The D mean for dominance. Okay, the D mean for dominance. The basic motivation of the dominance people they are results oriented. They are related to the control, power, assertiveness. Something the word drives in the place of dominance, right? So they call it as the dominant driver. Usually the business leaders, the managers, country heads, this is applicable anywhere, everywhere, starting from your house. Let's say now your wife has more D, dominant than you won't be able to control your wife. Between brothers, if second or third brother has high D than the first one, so that person will take the lead. There is no doubt. Okay, so they are dominant drivers. Somewhere down the line it will come out. You might have any sort of mechanism. One day it will come out for sure. So they want to make money. They save time. and be more efficient. So these three basic attitudes, simply you win, right? You want to make more money, you want to save time, and you want to be more efficient. So these three attitudes, it's enough for you to become a successful man and take the lead. Because other person, automatically they fail, you automatically become success. So then how can the second person stop you? And you know better than them. End of the day, everything is measured based on rupees and cents. Right? The people who secure high intensity of D style factor are very active in dealing with the problems and challenges. High D people are described as a demanding, forceful, egocentric. And they are very strong while driving the determined and ambitious. They drive it very aggressively. So when a person, this is something that you can't build, you can't make, right? It has to come within themselves. So they got to realize, okay, what is my strength and what is my weaknesses? And if they can fix those things, then they automatically come up to that level. So we are talking about, I'm not saying that everybody should be a dominant driver. There has to be a mix. So when you learn other things, then you will see, I love to be in this position because this is where I'm good at, which is true, right? When it comes to decision making, now we are not looking at one aspect of it. We are looking at when it comes to organization, it can be your house, it can be your organization, it can be your country, it can be across the world. It is applicable everywhere. Okay? When it comes to decision making, they are highly decisive. And they take the decision on gut feeling. Even against logic. You would have seen that. We used to tell that. That's how they take the decision. And they cannot be influenced by emotion. Very important thing. Did you heard about this? Almost every day, somewhere we hear this, no? That is the sort of a high D people or dominant drivers. They seek productivity and bottom line. What is my minimum expectation? They want to stay there. Whereas low D people, where the people who want to do more research before they committing a decision. That means they are going to take long time to take a decision. Samar gatte inne gannamane decision ekak. Oh, uta dunna ta ivarai. Next year tama hampu wenne badu. Because those are, when it comes to low high, it is completely happening other way around. So then you will realize that where you should put yourself. Becoming high D is a dangerous thing if you don't have the proper other supportive skills also. Because you just go ahead and take a decision, blind decision. Finally, you mess up things also. Because you never consider other things, because you are taking a decision, you are not considering, you are not influenced by emotion, you are taking the decision against logic. Then your decision has to be perfect. If the moment it goes wrong, everybody start blaming you. Because this is not the first time. Every decision you are taking, you are not considering anything. This is the results. This is something that you are going to hear most of the time. But on the other hand, other person, low D, low dominant person, his decisions are going to be, he never take a decision. So both are not good, right? Then the desired situation, usually, he will tell you, he is the boss. He wants to be in control. කවුරු හරි ඌට වැඩේ ඉරුණොත් තමයි ඉවරයි. ඌ කොහොමද මට කියන්නේ? You heard about these things, no? And when you start any argument, don't let that person to wait. If you think that you started an argument and I'll come back in the evening and I look out, and by the time you come back, you are gone. He would have finished you. You got to make sure if you start an argument, you must finish it. Come to an end. Until such time, you should not go. Very dangerous, right? When you're talking to them, you got to be short and on the point, to the point. And when you ask question also, there has to be boundary, the closed questions. Don't ask the open-ended questions. Then you're gone, right? So why I am saying all these, now that I'm trying to set the expectation and think yourself, am I like that? You're going to answer that. I'm going to tell you some characteristics. You're going to say, yes, yes, I am this. I am one of this. You got to be genuine. I'll tell you 4 situations. Out of those 4 situations, you got to tell whether I am like this or not. Okay? Now I'm giving you the example, setting the context. Then I will give you that exercise. Then I will get to know, okay, who are you? What sort of person you are, right? So I will also add the 2 more questions. Where are you working and all that in that quiz itself. I will come to that so that that introduction part can be covered through that. So I don't need to take that introduction session anymore because it's already, we have spent more than 15 minutes and our class also been delayed. Right. Then we discussed about the desired situation. Next is the respond best to others. They provide the direct answer. When you talk to them, when you initially you see them, you don't realize that, okay, but when the situation comes and he will give you the answer, you will go mad. Oh, he's always on the spot. They will give direct answer. They won't come all over. Spot, on the spot, right? And they want to stick to the business. And they are the people who apply the pressure. On this, but they will make sure they will get it. Because that's because I mean that he has that skills, but the problem is he don't have other skills to make the advantage of it. Having high D is a gift. Because being a leader, you can't be a leader without having high D. Anyone finally wanted to become a leader. But if you don't have the other supportive skills to be in that position, you can't remain in that position, right? So usually how they respond, of course, when it comes to fear, they usually take the advantage. Low D scores are described those who are the conservative, right? And they are kind of cooperative, and they are calculating, and they are undemanding. Oh, they ask like this. Right? So they are kind of a cautious mind also. Right? They are kind of agreeable mindset. And in a way that they are peaceful influences. Those are low D people. But when it comes to high D people, they demand. They wanted to get things done. Right? So that's about dominance, D. Next is I. I means influence. Influence again, expressive. So influence method, influence is related to social situation or communication. Sometimes word influence is used for place of inducement. Again, people with high I or influence other through the talking and activity, and tend to be emotional as well. And they are described as a convincing and magnetic. They are political. We used to tell, they somehow, within 2-3 words, they take the people into their hand. Right? They are warm, they are demonstrative, and they are trusting, and they are kind of optimistic people. Right? Because when you have those skill set, everything, I mean, it is not necessary for one person to have all these skills. Now that I was telling about few skills now, like emotional, and then I also mentioned about the convincing. They have also mentioned about the magnetic thing. They are kind of political, enthusiastic, the warm, they are demonstrative, they are trusting, they are optimistic. Out of all these, they might have maybe 4 or 5 characters. Because of that, they become high influencers. But it's not a fully influencers. Now, overall, we are talking about 40 characteristics. Okay? Out of 40 characteristics, it all depends. It is going to decide how many characteristics. Now, actually, 160 characteristics, to be frank with you. Out of 160 characteristics, one person can have 40 characteristics. That is the reality. This is tested and proven. Any human behavior, it doesn't mean that they don't have other characteristics, but they have the one characteristics will supersede the other characteristics. So we will come to that during the exercise. You will see, yes, I have this also. But my question is, out of these 4 choices, what is more relevant to you? You have given gold, diamond, and silver, and cash. What do you prefer to take? If I ask you, do you prefer cash, gift? You said yes. Then if I ask you, do you prefer to get it in cash or the gold? What do you prefer? Gold is good, but today I need cash, so I'll go with cash. Then I'm giving you the third option. Cash, gold, and diamond. Today I have a problem, but if I accept the diamond, I don't know where I will end up, so I will go with diamond. Don't you take decision like that? Today you are going to take a decision like that. What is your desirable situation? Out of those 4, you are almost there everywhere. But you have to decide what is the best choice that you are going to take it at that point in time. That's what we are going to test it. Okay? Then if you do a genuine answer, then you will know who exactly you are. Right? So these people with the high I, they usually influences, I mean, that I told you about that. Right? Then when we look at their decision making, they are highly decisive. They are convinced with whatever decision that they wanted to take it. And they will feel good and will go ahead. whatever stupid decision, why I'm saying that, because I have been experienced with this sort of people a lot. They know that they took a stupid decision, but still they will justify. No, this has these characteristics. I like this only, but I know that is there, but I like this only. They will justify it because they will go ahead with whatever things that they will make it good for them, and they will go ahead with that. Right? And they are also willing to pay premium to a good look. Right? So that especially the premium words, it's, that if you talk to them and finally they will say, it's a very expensive phone, no? So superb, nice. But that this is, how much is this one? 200,000. Other person coming up with another 50,000 rupees phone only. He says, sure. 200,000. This is the people about that. You got to understand, okay, you don't need to spend that much to convince them. I hope you're getting my point. Right? So the desired situation about themselves, where they look at prestige, right? And who is that it's about kind of indexing. I'm sure you must be laughing at it because you generally used to do that. Somewhere you used to do that. Or social media gilla rating dealer or rating so whatever manipulation they done it, you don't care. You just go ahead and look at, okay, this is high rated. This hotel is 5 star. 5 star feedback 8 star, they go by that. And exaggerate is overstate. That, oh no, they are going for a luxury room and I should go for a premium. Describe more than fact, while boast is to brag, and they tend to talk loudly as well. That you can easily identify the people. We might feel sometimes we might feel embarrassed also, but for them it's not a issue or challenge at all, because that's their attitude is. Okay? And how they best respond to others, or they respond best to others who offer incentives for risk taking. Then the creative and lovely, and blow his trumpet with him. Now those who with low I, especially, their influence is more with the data, and they wanted to find the facts and feelings. Like I said that star there's more rating, then they will go for it. Low rating. So with the low I score people, they just that go deep into that. But the high I is like they cannot be influenced with the data and all that. But low I people, they need data. Even if there is a 3-star, 5-star ranking, whatever given, they won't know who has responded, which company, how many people. But those people, they don't look at those things. High 5-star, 5-star, let's go ahead. They don't look at that. Who has them? Within their company, they have put someone else to do it. 5 times, 10 times, then you get that rating up. They are described as reflective or factual. They are calculating. No, they are logical and also suspicious. So all these terms that I'm telling you, you will have to remember. It is not nothing to remember actually. You will see, that these terms are repeating. While that question that you are doing it, these terms will be repeated, and you should be able to have an understanding about what sort of person I am. Then we're talking about S. S means steadiness, right? The steadiness is a submission related to patience, persistence, or thoughtful. And people with the high S, they are steady people. They are more secure, right? You can trust those people, and not like a sudden change. They won't change it, right? They are mainly focusing on basic motivation is relationship and appreciation. Right? Highest individuals are usually calm, relaxed, they are patient, they are possessive. You can predict them. If he behave like this, then he will, I can go ahead and take the decision, he will appreciate me. But he won't say anything because he understands that. Right? And they are very stable people also. They are consistent as well. They don't change quickly. They have a fixed agenda, they will do it. And they are unemotional. Now, you should remember, it doesn't mean that only high S people will have these characteristics. You will, once you do that exercise, you will know, okay, I have B, S, S, and I want to be like this. Here you are saying some of the good characteristics and some of the characteristics are bad characteristics. And you will have to get rid of bad or reduce the bad. And even in the bad also, there are levels. Now I'm into the 4th level of bad. That's very bad. So how can I bring it down to the 3rd level of bad? Then next 2 years time, I'll try to bring it down to the 2nd level of bad. That's how you improve yourself. You can't make that change over the night because we are talking about the attitude of the person. Very difficult to change it. You can only make him realize and let the change happen within himself. Okay. Now the desired situation, the decision making, they usually dislike to take decisions. They don't want to come and this is the word term that they usually use. And they also need more assurance. And they can apply pressure and they will consult others for the opinion and so on. And they also need support and assurance. So if you just give it to them, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Can you just finalize it and come back tomorrow? You will not see any progress, right? They need support. You have to tell them, look, read this. These are the items that has been specified, mentioned. Therefore, you don't have a problem. Please read this. And I'm guaranteeing you, I'm there to support you. So don't worry. You can sign it. You have to give that assurance and confidence. You need to support him to take the decision. Right? So it is not something that you're always going to do that. When you see the people are moving like this, you might think, okay, this guy is not accepting. It's not true. And you got to support these people sometimes. Because they might have other very good characteristics. You would have seen this sort of thing, because this is why the experiences matters. When you get into the, that real practical experience, that you will see what sort of impact that you're going to make it. Okay. Desired situation, they typically serve as a friend first, and they are always relaxed, and they will specialize over the period of time, and they also don't like much of changes. Right? Those are highest. Whereas if you take the lowest people, generally, they are the people who like the change in varieties. Can you change this? Can you change this? Can you change this? Right? And also with low S, they are kind of restless. Small matter. But they can demonstrate it very well. They are also impatient. They are also kind of eager in terms of compliance and all that. Right? Those are the desired situation about the high, the S people. And we look at this situation. And then how they respond to the others, of course, they allow time to adjust to change in plan. And to others that take time to explain things and show concern for them. Right? So I'm sure that you would have come across such situation in your life as well. Now the compliance or high C, the C people, C means compliance. I like this because I have high C. Right? Their basic motivation is to be right and quality. The compliance which is related to the structure and the organization. Sometimes the word itself, that consentaneous in a place where mostly the compliances are in place or the cautious, you call it. We got to do these things correct. People with high C, usually they adhere to the rules and regulation and structure. As long as it is falling under the rules, regulation, structure, they will do anything. They like to do quality work and they wanted to do it right at first time. You don't want to waste time in doing and experimenting and all that. To gain the knowledge, do it right at first attempt itself. Usually the high C people are very careful and they are exactly neat and they are very, very systematic and they are diplomatic as well. They are very accurate and they are very tactful. It doesn't mean that one person will have all these characteristics. If a person has got all these characteristics, mean he cannot move anywhere. Can you move? I'm the systematic person. I can't do anything beyond this. I will work as per the rule. Can you move? Or he is a tactful person. You can't be that perfect or that tactful. Right? But there are people. They might have 10 out of 4 characteristics, 10 out of 6 characteristics, 10 out of 8 characteristics. If they have 10 out of 10 characteristics, that's a dangerous part. But it's very rare. As I told you, out of 160, one person can have 40 influence, maximum 40. This is tested and proven. You can use any logic, any way to argue, any way to prove. No, you cannot prove that wrong. Okay? They are, when it comes to decision making, they are very slow because they need more information. They are very systematic. They go as per rule. They cautious about it has to be very neat. And they want to do it right at first time. So they got to be careful. And they want to make sure it is 100% correct. And they need more information and data to take a decision. If you have such characteristics, then it has to be supported by the data. If you are taking some decision, on what basis that you are saying? They need the reassurance. That means the supportive data plus you got to make sure that yes, it is done. It will happen. And finally, they should have the money, value for money as well. If they don't see the value for money, they will not spend time. Right? The desired situation, they are very knowledgeable and they hate criticism. That's sort of the bad attitude. I told you that you won't find everything right. There has to be a constructive criticism, but they hate criticism. So then you got to see that how are you going to change that attitude? There are key characteristics when it comes to any purchasing, when it comes to any decision making, what they want to know, what's the cost. They're mainly concerned about how much savings that I want to have. What is the effectiveness? These are the main concern for them. Kind of rupees and senses. End of the day, everything has to boil down to the rupees and senses for them. Right? So they respond best to provide assurance. Okay? You want to get things done from them, then you provide assurance as a default. Unless they hear from you, it is difficult to let them work for you. And they are more or less the expert on the topic that they choose. That means they collecting more data. Without data, they won't move. So somehow they will collect the data. And when you talk to them, they will tell you more than what you know. Because they are expert on the topic. And they don't get too friendly and too early. They will have very limited friends. පාරේ යනකොට හැම එක්කෙනා අඳුරන්නේ නැත්නේ. ගමේ ඉන්නකොටත් එහෙම තමයි. ඔෆිස් ගියත් එහෙම තමයි. You have only one or two friends, so you can easily identify those other people. So you got to realize whether it's a good or bad attitude and how are you going to change it. Right? Now, you got to say that style recognition. How you observe a person's lifestyle, right? So they have that, they used to see that, their lifestyle, how the person talks and answer the question. You know, they will look at everything. Everything they will notice. They also need third-party references. And they also look at the office environment and appearances also. How I'm going to be reflected, being part of this and all that. They will look at those. Right? So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to start that session, the quiz program. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before that, I want to play a small video which talk about the attitude and skills that I was mentioning, right? Let me see. Okay, hold on. Right. Okay. Okay. Let me also give you a brief or the heads up about the summary about this this model, and then I'll play that video. After that, we will run through the question, so that then you will realize. I'm just thinking. Okay, I will play that video and then let you fill that answer. So then you can that relate, because sometimes you may have faced some experience or difficulties to understand what exactly I told you, but that video will clear that point as well. Now, when it comes to this DISC model, that like I explained, it's about 4 quadrants. right? The four quadrants. I hope you can see my screen, right? You can see the Desmond, right? I got some warning here. Something appeared in my screen. Okay. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Right. So the dominant, like the four quadrants that I have mentioned, this is how we are going to put it. There is dominant and influencer. In between, you know that the combination here, they see the big picture. Usually the combination works like this, either this way, or this way, or this way, or this way. Right? Generally, this combination, you can't find much of you can do it, but usually the combination works this way. High D and high I, high D, low I, with the influence of others work, or high D and high C with the influence of others will work, or high C and high S with the influence of others will work. You will see that, I mean, that most of the time you would have, you cannot work with everybody, right? But at the end of the day, if you divide the people's attitude, either one of these. So why can't this C and I work together? Why can't this D and S work together? Vice versa, right? High C, high I, or high C, low I, they cannot work together. Right? If you really go down to the roots of that horoscope, you will find almost similar. But I'm not saying the horoscope is right or wrong, but look at from the angle, the people attitude and how you actually, I mean that we are also talking about, we are evolved 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. If you think that still by looking at my birth date, time and all that, and by looking at my, that is from that as a horoscope, and if you're deciding that he's going to behave like this after 50 years without realizing that the amount of changes that he has gone through in his life, I'm saying that's wrong, right? This is something that you're talking about current. Right? But this attitude and skills and all that I was explaining, I hope you would have got the clear picture. These four dimensions can be grouped into grid. This grid I'm talking about. And D and I are sharing the top row and representing the bigger picture or extroverted aspect of the bigger picture of the personality. So generally, D and I combination together, come together, they can show a bigger picture, right? And similarly, C and S representing the introverted or the detail observer. May characters C and S. C are the critical thinker, and these are the steady people. Then when a person has this combination high, they give you much more detail. We would have gone into detail, right? Likewise, D and C share the left column here, right? This part, left column, they are representing the task force aspect. Because with high D and C, either it can be high D or high C, but they are, these two, the high D and C are high. Those people, they are highly task oriented because they can get things done, they are highly decisive, and they are methodical, they are systematical, they follow the rules, and they have the high, fast decision making attitude also. Next is the I and S, right? This part. This I and S, they share the column of social aspect of it, or the people aspect of it. ඔය සමාජ සේවය කරගෙන යන්න දුවන්නේ ඔය කට්ටිය තමයි. කොහේ වෙලත් හැමදාම මොන හරි සමාජ සේවය තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කරගෙන ඉන්නේ. මෙතන තින්නවා නේද කවුද එක්කෙනෙක් development officer. So you should check whether you have this high INS, otherwise you should change your job Without that attitude, you can't continue. So rather you realize 5 years, 10 years later, you can realize it, do your calculation and see whether I'm going to be there or not after 3 years or 5 years. When you realize that, you will see this is not something that I'm passionate about it. So I'm not discouraging, but end of the day, you got to identify what is my strength. You got to play with that strength. You got to identify what is my weakness. You got to correct those weaknesses. Then automatically you go up in the ladder. Right? In this matrix, where the vertical dimension represent the factors of assertiveness and vertical particle, and passive, while horizontal represent the open and quadrant. Right? Make openness, assertiveness. So we were discussing about those two characteristics. No? So before we move on to the next part, right, I will play a video. Let me stop sharing. And I need to share another screen. Okay, you had to confirm me whether were you able to hear the voice, and you can you see the screen with Bill Gates, Donald Trump, Will Smith, David Beckman. Can you see the screen, and were you able to hear the sound? Please unmute your mic and tell me, otherwise it is going to be delayed. I want to make sure.
We can see, sir.
Did you hear the sound?
No.
Okay, let me play it again. You didn't hear the sound?
No, sir.
Were you able to hear the sound now?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, just listen to this carefully. I will also put this video link in the chat later. Just listen to this carefully. You can see the screen as well, right?
When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance.
Did you hear dominance? Because these are, even though these characteristics has not been seriously looked at in this part of the world, developed countries, they don't even choose the leader without, they have to use this term. Otherwise, they are disqualifying to be a president itself. So he is using the term dominance. You will repeatedly see what sort of words that he is choosing to prove I am the dominant driver. Don't play with me, right? Just listen to this carefully.
In space, so important. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing.
You see, he is purposely bringing that word, directing.
The Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary.
Immediately begin. You see, that's how they speak.
To establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement.
Now look at, now Donald Trump is the high D person. Why I said high D person? He cannot even contest for election without being tested and proven high D. He has to prove on his ability. But Donald Trump, actually, according to my reading, he's trying to purposely bring that word. That shows that he's trying to act smart, or he's trying to prove that I'm the dominant driver. It may not be right sometime, but he's a true business leader. So he should have that high D to be in that position itself. Okay, let's listen to Will Smith, but he's a high I personality.
You don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. And you do that every single day. And soon you have a wall. And soon you have a wall. And I think psychologically, the advantage that gives me over a lot of people that I have been in competition with in different situations is it's difficult to take the first step when you look how big the task is. The task is never huge to me. It's always one brick.
Have you noticed that he is not giving any directive thing, but he is trying to influence? It's kind of he is trying to influence through talking. And he tend to be, showing emotion, that what sort of impact, and trying to convincing, right? Convince the people. So that's how the high I people will engage. Now let's look at high S people.
Talking of kids, you've got the three boys who did all play football. Yeah. But now they've basically all dumped it, and so is Harper the only one left?
She is the only one left, and she started playing every Sunday. And I mean, she loves it. The boys don't play anymore, which is it's heartbreaking. No,
you out in the garden with the goal.
It's not really, but
they were playing a bit at our shoot.
They were playing a bit,
and they're great. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're
goofing around with the.
They have a good. They have a talent, but obviously none of them play anymore. So it's down to Harper.
You will see that while other person is trying to bring him emotion and all that, he's very calm and very steady and very peaceful. And it is, I mean, that he is relaxed and he is patient enough to, bring in without showing much of a emotion, right? Now let's listen to the high C person. It's the Bill Gates.
I'm so happy to have you here. This is the first time having you on, so thanks. So I know you were nervous about the entrance. You thought, I think people feel like they're supposed to dance, and so and I was really surprised because I was here earlier today for your rehearsal, and then you abandoned it. But we should at least show them the rehearsal because it was really good.
Shout out to them people.
It was good.
So did you notice that he didn't want to? I mean, then how he has responded? You see, it's amazing. Don't you see? Because he had very little words to express it. In fact, he didn't even open his mouth. And he was able to, handle that situation very carefully. Right. So now you show that what sort of characteristics and so on. I'm going to give you a small test. This is not an exam. It is a test for you all. I have mentioned your, right. If you refer to the chat window, please go to the chat window. Please confirm whether you all can access it. Access the Google Sheet. Anyone, can you confirm?
I cannot see, sir.
Can see. Can access?
There is no link. I'm not sure if it is just me, but I can't see anything.
Chat window.
No, sir.
No, sir, it's not there.
No, it's not there.
Hold on. It is just gone to one person. I'll just make it everyone. Oh, sorry. I took a copy of attendance also. That I just pasted that. I'll send the link again. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. Now I can see.
Okay. So I think we can do that. Let me help you with first question. Now, actually, the question is not given here because preparing the question is it's a tedious process. But you got to understand, you have to know about just one thing: adventurous, animated, adaptable, accurate. Out of these 4 characteristics, which characteristics will go very close to you, right? So I will also, now you can just do a Google search and find out, but I will also share my screen with the explanation. So I will share first 5. I hope you can see the word fine. Animated means full of life or excitement. Lovely. Adventurous means willing to take risk or try out new methods and ideas. Accurate means correct in all details. So even if you just do a Google search also, you will get it, but I'll just put it here. If you have any doubts that you can ask me. There is nothing to clarify. It's all about yourself. It is all about English and yourself. Know about yourself. Nobody can answer to this question other than you. But please be realistic. Pick up the most appropriate part. You can say, let's say now, first one itself, willing to try new or unfamiliar thing. You can say that full of life, excitement and love, lively or adventurous, willing to take risk or try out new methods and ideas. So the moment you say adventurous, that you wanted to pick up that word. Actually, are you an adventurous or are you an accurate person? We are the correct in all details, exact or acceptable person, able to adjust new condition. Or animated person, we are the full of life, excitement and lively. So you got to pick up out of these 4, what is move closer to you. You got to rank yourself. Yes, I am adventurous, but at the same time, if the details are not correct, I won't take that offer and go to those places. So who you are with compared to adventurous, you are an accurate person. But instead, what you're saying is, okay, I know that there is a problem. I got that, but still I'm okay to adjust it. Even anyway, I want to go for it. So with compared to adventurous, you are accurate, but with compared to accurate, you are adaptable. And next is the animated one, where they're full of life, of experience or excitement, and you don't care about these things. All what I need is excitement. I want to be there when the sunrise happens. So then, are you adventurous or accurate or acceptable? Sorry, adaptable or animated? That's a decision that you should be taking. If you take a wrong choice, then probably it won't work. Can we finish it by 2:30? Otherwise, I'm sure you have lectures as well, right? After 3:30. I hope you would have done up to first 5. I'll move it to the up to 7. In another 2 minutes time, I will move it to the 10.
Sir, excuse me. Sir, are you there?
I'll move it to the next part until 12.
Sir,
yes.
Do we have to fill the email personality test blanks related to these questions?
No, whatever you are seeing on my screen was the explanation. Was the explanation. You have to pick up the answer now. First one, willing to try new unfamiliar thing. I mean that everywhere the question is not set up. You have to pick up first one adventurous, second one animated, third adaptable, fourth accurate. Out of which one is more described about yourself?
Yeah. Where we put it, that document, the personality test document.
So the link that you have the question?
No, the questions is not there. There is only the email. We have to write the email and then ask the answer like that. No
Hold on.
questions. In there.
No, yes. Because there is no question, because you got to pick up either A, B, C, D. What is your characteristics? Okay, there is space is there, no?
Yes, only the space is there, but your document.
Scroll down. You will see that A, B, C, D is there, right? Provision for the first one. What you can see? First one, adventure, animated, adaptable, accurate. Can you see that?
Is it in your document or the YouTube, the link document?
Link document. It is not YouTube. It is.
Yeah, in YouTube, it's indicate only the ask the email address and also the answer sheet is there.
So I think she's talking about the initial page. We are directed to an initial page where we have to fill out our information such as the email.
Yes.
And then when you forward to the next page, the questionnaire will be there.
Correct.
Okay, I will check.
Others can see the questions, right?
So up to 6 questions are display, but
Yes.
7 to 10 there's no any questions there.
No, actually you can straight away pick up, because I was explaining those things, no? Because because this has to be in class exercise where the question, there is no question per se. You got to, this is about your personality now. If I give you the question, then I'm setting the context. It has to be open, because the test that we are doing, that's why I didn't put the question, because when I try to put the question, that I realized that I am forcing you all to think about a particular situation and answer. But you got to look at what is, have you come across this situation, and then accordingly you have to decide. Like to who had the issue with the setting up, accessing this file? What's your name? The person who had the question right now? Thank you for reminding me. So next we are going to see the negotiation. The term negotiation is in a way that it's bargaining. You're often confused with these two sometimes, right? It is actually the negotiation and bargain is different. Sorry, I made a mistake. This is actually very often it has been confused by a lot of people. And during this session that I'm going to show you how you can do the successful negotiation with the stakeholders and how you can make the required transformation to change your organization, because that's end of the day. Your objective, one of your objective is towards taking the decision towards your organization. In the true negotiation, usually each party come to coming to a discussion with the intention of reaching into the agreement on satisfactory terms to the both parties. It is usually in exceptional circumstance where one party will agree to negotiate with the predetermined objectives, or predetermined objectives they wanted to bring in the deadlock where they cannot move. That sort of situations are very rare, right? So therefore, we got to look at why the negotiation is happening. But the ultimate goal of the negotiation is not that. Okay? So the term bargaining is involved with the use of exchange of items. It is normally money, right? So අපි මේ කඩේට ගිහලා bargain කරන්නේ, where they say 150 rupees, they say no, 120 දාන්න පුළුවන්. So something like that. So it is dealing with the money. But negotiation involves use of at least 2 or more item of exchange. But when it comes to bargaining, what we are saying is it's about money. But negotiation means not just money, it's 2 or more items are being exchanged. So these are whatever the things which has been exchanged will be discussed during this next few slides. Now 3:35. I'll try my level best to cover as much as possible. Now let me see that where actually the negotiation happened. The negotiation typically take place where there is mainly with the opponents. We are able to create a that agreement to exchange some items, right? Otherwise, it doesn't. We don't call it as negotiation. For example, now you are quoting for some items and they're asking for some discounts. And one side, if they say no, there is no discount, that means the negotiation is closed. But let me discuss about it. Let me see what is your proposal, and let me see what is the cost impact for our organization. Then there is some signal, yes, other party or one party is willing to discuss the terms. So there are proven rules to follow making this sort of consensus decision, right? So those things we will be explaining during the rest of this thing. Now, if you look at what is negotiation, the negotiation is a process of influencing. It's, as I said, negotiation means there are more than 2 parties involved to trying to sort out that conflicting objectives. They join together voluntarily to discuss the proposal and propose a plan or an agreement where the issues which can be mutually resolved with the mutual interest, right? So this way, you and the other party achieve the best agreement, and both give that having some sort of a conflicting needs. So when is that negotiation is likely to happen? it is usually after presenting the benefit and before you get the customer to commit. We show what sort of issues or the Cold War happened between China and US when Donald Trump was the president, right? So Donald Trump, what he did, he gave his speech. Then, and also he said that I'm going to tax every Chinese item sold in US. So you got to pay the tax before you put that item into, bring into the country itself. But he don't care. It will make the price increase, and it is a hard decision also, and it may be very difficult to move. But what he did, he had put his speech, and traditionally, what we ask is what the objections are, right? So then he put the price and he put the tax concerns, and then he see, okay, what is the objections which is coming from their end? And then he tried to address those objections, and then that you think that you can win it. So that is a typical example that I would say that we were going through when Donald Trump was here. I'm looking at the few answers also came in. Good, but let's review it by 3:20. Last 10 minutes we'll keep it for that review. Okay, so this is one of the typical example. Now here it is not just two parties shaking their hands, but you also got to see where they are looking at, how they are holding their hands, right? I can see at least maybe around 10 to 12 items here. They are tri-colors, right? The badges. You see, if you go into detail, you will see a lot of things. This is a very interesting subject. This is the most critical aspect also. It is good that you are going through this exercise during your MBA program. That means this is going to remain forever in your life. You will never forget this. If you take this seriously, you will never forget this, and you will take this as one of the biggest gain out of your MBA. More than certificate, you will see this as one of the biggest gain, right? So let's see what all are the negotiation strategies. There are few strategies: cooperative strategy and competitive strategy. When we are approaching the negotiation, in the aim of preliminary steps is to decide whether what is the overall strategy that we are going to approach. Whether you are thinking about win-win or win-loss. That is the benchmark, that is the expectation, right? Often we refer to as, that the win-win, where the objective is to reach the long-term commitment, where both parties are satisfied and will probably want to maintain it. So that is the objective of the win-win or the cooperative negotiation strategy. Whereas the competitive one, where win-loss, where the objective is to force compliances and their temporary acceptance. And typically, both parties are not going to be satisfied. However, both cooperative and competitive forms those are the legitimate strategies mainly in the negotiations. And these can happen in the certain conditions. It is not necessary to be always take the cooperative. Depends on the situation. We should be able to take the call whether we are going to take the other way around, competitive decision, right? So the cooperative approach is usually where the long-term relationship, where the the competitive one, where the situation where one party approach to the other party, whether you take it or leave it. My suggestion, we should always have three options. First, win-win. Second, I mean, there is two options, but within that we should have the win-loss. Is always we should have that option. Before that, in between also we try to settle it off, whether we can lose something but gain something later. That also in a way the win-win, because you are looking at long term, right? But you can also adjust it in such way that you can bring in some exchange of items. By doing that also you can easily let the people to settle down very quickly, right? Anatomy of the effective negotiation. You got to have the planning and preparation. You should have that opening gun, and then exploration, then close, then avoid deadlock, and establishing a common ground. So we are going to look at these things in detail, but I'll quickly rush it through because we have a lot of contents to cover, almost half of the contents to cover. Okay. Planning and preparation is the most important and most time consuming as well. Most frequent cause of a failure in negotiation is due to insufficient attempt to plan and preparation. For example, increase or reduce price. If you don't plan it properly, and if you during the negotiation, you won't be able to either accept or reject, or you might take a wrong decision, wrong call. You might say, okay, we'll agree to 7% discount, but when you really come back and do the mathematics, you will be going on a loss. Nobody wanted to do a business in loss. Rather than doing it in loss, you can just drop it. Extending the contracting credits and all that. Now you're extending the credit, but if you don't get the back-to-back support, who is going to bear that cost? There can be a situation where you have to pay from your account, whereas you will be receiving money 6 months down the line, 3 months down the line. Who is going to finance for that? Who is going to pay that finance cost for that? And then the change in the delivery date. They are demanding, if you can deliver only within 1 week, we'll give it to you. This guy somehow desperately wanted to get that project. He said, okay, we'll give it. But still the product is on production in China. It will take another 2 weeks to put it to the ship, another 2 weeks to reach out to Colombo Harbor, another 3 to 4 days time to reach out to the customer. So altogether we are talking about almost 4 weeks. But this guy went ahead and agreed to delivery within 1 week. He thinks that I got the order, delivering the item is up to you without checking that. So lack of preparation, right? Adding something extra. Just go ahead and say, okay, fine, we'll add those 2 reports without checking with the development team. Right, so we have to develop this custom report. So that custom report, you would have no idea about how much effort which is going to take when you come back to the developers and ask them, okay, now we have to develop this report. I have agreed to that, please do that. He said, excuse me, can you give me the requirement again? When you go through the requirement, it says this required another 25 days of effort to be included. 25 days into $200, $5,000. So you pay for that and get it done. So who is going to bear that cost? Again, lack of preparation. Likewise, that is the most dangerous part. Okay. So you got to identify the exchange of item for both parties, and deciding on the objectives, strategies, and techniques and deadlines upon settling the range and all that. It's very, very important. Next is the opening gun. How are you going to open that negotiation? Usually the opening gun reflects the aspiration level of the other side. So, you used to tell, no? During this stage, usually the both parties, they try to gradually build that demand during this stage itself. And they also have the consideration of what are we going to get it. Then when they get started with the conviction of they tend to be bring into the situation where you take it or leave it demand. Because unless you set that expectation up front, then it will continue to say, okay, other party think that, okay, he didn't talk like that. No, he said that, okay, I will have a look at, let me discuss with my manager. That means he has some clearance to go ahead. So the other party also won't give the best. Unless you set the expectation, no, clearly this is our budget. We cannot go a single rupee dollar beyond this level. We have to finish it within this time frame. If you can't start the project and so date, you are going ahead with the other party. So you have to set the expectation right up front. So then other party should be able to understand this is the take it or leave it demand. Okay. This is, you can both that the both parties will bring their demand or the statement of acceptable terms. And by one party, that one of the negotiation party will definitely bring that. So it can be made it right or delayed until preliminary discussions are taken place. It is not something that you just go ahead and throw it on the table itself. Then thereafter, when you throw it at the beginning itself, they haven't started. You don't know what is their demand is, but you just went ahead and put it, okay, we'll give it you this price and this will deliver this. Then when they start a demand, you don't have anything to be compromised. Because every organization, they will have something to be taken as a final negotiation stage. If you give it before they ask, then they are going to anyway ask something and you will end up paying something from your pocket. Because you have nothing to be given. Right? So therefore, you got to build that opening gun correctly. If you don't do it, plan it, other party will do it. Then the opening. Right? The opening is who will open first. They will have the advantages as well as disadvantages. I explained. You always keep the aim high, but in a defensive manner. What will happen if you just ask something, okay, now I have this much budget, but you want to deliver everything. Other party say, sorry. Then you go and get it from the other party. If other party said that their competitor said that they can deliver this, you go ahead with them. Thank you for your time and arrange a meeting. So then thereafter, how are you going to handle it? So you got to put it carefully, right? So you can aim high, but you got to be able to defend yourself. Otherwise, you will say, sorry, sir, I made a mistake. You take it, thereafter, you lose your whole bargaining power. And then you try to reduce the opponent's aspiration level. Okay. Today, I was listening to Ravichandra Ashwin, the India spin bowler, one of his conversation. He said he was looking at Roger Federer's game, the tennis. While he was watching that, he was coming. I mean, Roger Federer is almost, he didn't take much of effort. He was just playing his game, all techniques and all that, other party. He couldn't cope up. But somehow, he realized that opponent is just trying to come up. Then he put all his effort and smashed this guy. And he didn't allow him to come up. Because the moment you let him come to the foam, then you're going to put extra effort to tackle with him. So what you do, the moment you realize this guy is targeting this, before he asks that you try to block that. Then he loses his bargaining power on that. Or he won't be able to, come to his strength and play. If we come to his level of strength and start playing, then Roger Federer has to play for another 1 hour to beat him. So at the moment he recognized that the other party is coming to the foam, he didn't let him come foam. He just smashed him away. Right? They resist the opponent's attempt to reduce your aspiration. So they will try to bring you down. Then you should recognize that and you try to reduce. Okay, that's not the matter here. We are talking about this particular agreement. Please stay with this. Because you might have made a mistake somewhere else. You would try to take advantage on that. Next stage is the exploration stage. This is where the battle of changing the expectation. You come up with something, you put your expectation on that, and opponent coming up with something else. Now that you got to understand and you got to sense this at early stage itself, where you share the information with others, and you should be able to learn more about them, about what they want and all that. This exploration is not only discover the information, it also set the climate for the subsequent discussion or negotiation. And most importantly, whether this is a competitive one or the collaborative one, that you got to sense that, right? So what is competitive and collaborative? Anyone? Just unmute your mic and say. What is competitive and collaborative? Do you want me to name anyone new? Competitive mean win-loss. Collaborative mean? Anyone?
Teamwork.
What?
Teamwork.
No.
Win-win.
Win-win. That's why I brought up the win-loss. So then you should be able to get the other one. Right? So next stage is close. This is the final exploration for exchange of item that will improve the results for both parties. Right? The most common fail of this stage is if you have the inadequate attention to the detail and clear understanding, which resulting in a disagreement. There are anything that has the value, whether it is tangible or intangible, while the both parties are negotiating. So you can also have an exchange of items like increase or reduce pricing. You can have extending contract period. You can change the delivery date. You can adding something extra. You can also have non-committal guests as like you can say that, okay, I will consider that in a later stage, right? So I have a nice story also to tell, but I really am really running out of time. Now here it's about how do we avoid the deadlock, right? So avoiding a deadlock is a situation where the both parties cannot reach to a mutual acceptance and agreement. So then when you are unable to reach to that, then you got to come to the common ground. But does everyone already know about this issue? Is one of the best way to attract the interest of all the stakeholders or the audience into locate them into a common ground. You should be able to bring everyone into common ground and showing how these issues at the hands and there has been or how it has been remain in something about which they are already familiar and they are also concerned about. No, unless you bring it to that common understanding and common ground, you won't be able to do that. But there are several ways that you can bring that common ground, right? You can establish, first is you have to establish that common ground. This is generally considered where the planning and preparation stage itself. If you do that planning and preparation stage very well, then it will be easy for you to, that bring this cycle exactly the way it has been defined. Because these are systematic way of approaching. If you do that systematic way of approaching, what will happen is you will be able to, that easily get into the point and close it. But still, that there are people purposefully push you towards putting into the deadlock situation, as I said. So when conventionally, when we say that when we negotiating during the meeting, which is usually when you do that meeting negotiation at your office, you will have an advantage. Okay. So the question as to where the negotiation should be ideally take place is practically it is usually you should have it in your place, right? Otherwise, that if you do it on their place, because when you do it on your place, you can treat them well and you can create them a nice environment and all that. When you go there, you don't know what sort of situation is going to be there, right? So therefore, that is important to have that bring that common ground, common understanding. When initial position have been exchanged for both parties, and then that will clarify and justify their original demand, and then this is not need to be aggressive also. You can put it nicely, and rather it is an opportunity to educating and informing each other on these issues, why they are important and how they are important and how they arrived with this initial demand and all that. This is a point where one party might want to provide the other party with the supportive documents or whatever the documentary, and then that can help them support their decision, right? So when they might have something different thoughts and ideas, and if you just put it them well in a properly documented way, they should be able to understand on their positions as well. I'll quickly touch about this. Now, tell me, when you're walking into the discussion with a client, which position that you would sit? You are walking into the client office for a meeting, for a negotiation, or for a presentation or something. Which position that you will take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right here, you can see the glass door. Usually, when you are most of the boardroom, you will see that there will be a glass room and there will be door here. Generally, the projector is being placed here. Sorry, projector is generally being placed here. This is where generally the boss will come and sit, because boss is the one who will come last and the first one to go out also. So therefore, he will usually take this slot 5, because when everybody is in, he will just walk in and sit here. And once they get the point, and he will say, okay, you all continue the meeting. I have something else to attend, and he will walk out. Now tell me, what place that you will go and stay? You're going to present it. Anyone? Any guess? Quickly, we are running out of time. Just any guess. I'm not going to.
3 or 4.
4.
3 or 4. Who said? Can you put your name here? 3. Who said 4? Your name, please. Somebody said 4. Please tell your name. Why are you afraid to say your name? Use. Who is the correct answer? Who told this answer? What's your name?
Nalini.
Nalini. Okay. Yeah, 4 is the correct answer, because you got to stay closer to the boss. That also. Why do you choose 4 instead of 6? Anyone? A lot of people have chosen 7. Nalini, you tell me. Why did you choose 4 or rather than 6?
Yeah, 6, you might get disturbed when people coming and going out now. So 4 is the place, and you can see everybody clearly, and because the place is close by, so everybody.
That's not the correct answer. That's not the correct answer. Anyone else?
4th one is on the right hand side of the boss. So
No,
whenever
that's not the right answer. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, I'll give you a clue. Here is a glass door. Now tell me, what could be the right answer? I want you all to just think and come up with something. I gave you a clue also. There's a glass door. Why do you want to go and sit there? Number 4. Usually when you go for a meeting, there will be 2 or 3 people coming with you. Right? When you go for this sort of negotiation and with meeting with 5-6 people, typically you don't go alone. You should go with at least another 1 or 2 person. And who will sit next to you? Is it somebody who came with you or with other people? What's the best way? Okay, I'll tell you. Firstly, I told you the glass door, because when their employees sits here, 6, 7, 8, their internal employees sits here, they will pay attention to the employees who is going around. That's what they are going to think. Right? You should not let them, that you should keep their attention. To keep their attention, they should not focus on what is happening inside the office. They should pay attention to you. So then you sit here. Let them show the back towards glass door so that they will see you. They don't see anything out here because everything is shield. Then you can get their attention to you. And you should always keep closer to the boss, because then if he has any questions and clarifications, that you should be able to sense him, and if he's in a hurry to go, you should be able to just say, excuse me, sir, just 2 minutes, I'll show you next thing and all that. You should be able to convince him when you are here close by, but you can't use the same language, say the same terminology if you are sitting here. right? So these other stuffs are somewhat theoretical. Some of the points that I have highlighted for you all to just learn it and practice it, right? What's the behavior of the negotiator, ideal negotiator? These things, if you can just go through it and that understand in better way, it will help you. Preparation and planning and knowledge of subject matter, ability to think clearly and clearly under pressure. That's very important. And listening skills, judgment and intelligence, integrity, ability. And this is some of the hot blind spot check where this is about DISC, disclosure. Their strength and weaknesses, right? Before that, I would like to go to your marks. Have you all got it? Nobody has updated the marks, no? Yeah. Nobody has updated. Let me see. You all have time? Can we spend another 10-15 minutes? Because I can go through that. Okay, I think no. Still not. Okay, please give me another 2 minutes. I'll see whether I can get. Because my next session is after 4 weeks, right? Yeah, so that will be too late for you to digest it. Just give me a minute. I cannot get the results yet because still being calculated, because we have to put it to the Excel sheet and do it, but I can see the cells. Okay, now some people, some of you have put the marks here, saying that how many C's and D's and all that. Why can't others also see that? Okay, let me. You won't be able to come to the conclusion whether you are high C or high D or and all that. I was planning to get that, but I can see the overall. Majority of them are D and C only. I can see that someone has sent me an email. No? I cannot see the individually. I cannot get the count of how many.
We don't have that.
No, I was actually trying to get that. Okay, let me send.
So after submitting, we exit from that.
Okay, you can check it now. You would probably have got everyone's response also. I think you would have got it now. Just check it. You would have received an email.
So the result says 0 out of 0, but it shows what answers we picked. So we can actually count how many A's, B's, and C's and D's.
Yes, can you all count? Can you all count and put it to the Excel sheet that I have shared with you.
So
If
can
you all
you
can,
share the link of the Excel sheet?
yes, I will. Okay, now you all started sharing, no? If you can put it to the Excel sheet, then it's easy for me to do it. Okay, let me start explaining this also a little bit. Dominant, where they are independent, they're decisive, they're determined. The weaknesses has trouble operating with other people. It's always being a problem. It's I have seen many people, very good, talented people, but they couldn't cope up with other people. Does not take time to consider and other perspectives and determining to focus to do it with my way. That also one of the baddest attitude, which typically you will see with a lot of leaders. Influencing, they're good communicators, enthusiastic and imaginative, but they talk too much and come on too strong as well. And dreamers, and they are unrealistic people, right? Steady people, they are supportive, patient, and diplomatic, which is the S type. But the weaknesses tend to conform to wish of others, right? They are usually being carried by other people. No time boundaries, things to do, things do not get done, and no assertive or directives. Compliant C type, their strength is their thinking, their thought, their discipline, but the weaknesses, the potential weaknesses excludes feelings from decisions, right? When they take a decision, they really don't care about the feelings, and goes too far, and they are near perfection. They are too right or demanding of self and others. So those are the characteristics and the especially strengths and weaknesses. But you got to see which characteristics which goes closer to you. So unless and until you, so next session, what we do is we will slightly go through that, and we'll start with that. And then maybe we'll spend around just 15 minutes to go through that. There are body language related things, because these are very important. When you go for a meeting, your body language 50%, the tone of voice is 38%, the choice of words is only 7%, right? And how do you build this rapport building in a common ground, where the customer is living in one world and you are living in another world, but there is something in common, right? So you got to find out what is that in common, and then try and come to that. And how do you build that rapport through the common ground, where if you are unable to reach out to certain decision, you can postpone until the proof and make value obvious, break into chunks, compare to their proposal, compare to your rivals, focus on differences, change the topic. You know that we can go and talk about so many things. The 10 characteristics of successful negotiator, all are given here. We don't have time to go through this, but I have mentioned everything. These are bullet points, self-explanatory points. I brought up all these to give you some, that insight, and how you should be planning your negotiations, and how you improve yourself on a day-to-day life. If you can apply this at appropriate time, right? Planning, preparation, checklist. And if you go on all these points, if you can address all these points, if you have any issues and any challenges, just do it once. Spend 1 hour, 2 hours, just do it once. Then you will realize what sort of improvement that you are making, right? This is about the most important traits of a negotiator. They have the planning ability, communication, courage. So just look at these things and some of the behavior of a successful negotiator. Go through this, right? These are self-explanatory. I'm sure you should be able to